Okay, yeah, so let's get started on chapter 1.
I knew I should have gone to bed earlier.
Okay, so chapter 1. Where did this come from? I don't remember this. Okay, so today we're going to talk about in Fordney. If you have your book for chapter 1, we're going to talk about the careers, roles, and responsibilities of Fordney. I'm sorry, of insurance billing specialists. Their careers, roles, and responsibilities. Okay, so we're moving on to page 2. Remember what I said on the homework assignment? If you have your book, those acronyms that's on the first page of chapter 1. Okay, the acronyms. You can use these acronyms to define the meaning. Yes, hold that up, Evelyn. Those acronyms on here. This page 2, helps y'all answer those questions. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so again, you can Google it or you can share with a friend in the classroom, if they've already have it answered from their book. But this is what I'm explaining to, okay? All right, so let's move on to page 3, the background of insurance and coding. Okay, so we already talked about how you can do coding, billing and coding in different facilities, different professionals facilities.
I'm lost.
Okay.
What paper?
I'm on page 3 in your book, chapter 1. Mm-hmm. Page 3. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, in the handbook. I'm in the book, baby. I'm reading from this book. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need to get it. Yeah. Okay. So 2 billing components exist. And I'm just reading, so just pay attention. This on YouTube. Don't freak out. You won't. And professional billing. Does everybody get that? Facility billing is charging for services done in the hospitals. Okay, we have to charge for, how many nights a patient stayed in a room. We have to do all the cups, the ice, the food. Okay, that food is not free. Okay. Acute care hospitals, skilled nursing and long-term care facilities, rehabilitation centers, and ambulatory surgical centers. Does everybody get that? Mm-hmm. Professional billing is charging for services performed by physicians or non-physician practitioners. We already said, we talked about non-physician practitioners, such as what? Nurse practitioner.
Physician assistant.
Very good. Name another one.
Advanced registered NP.
Very good. Name another one. Physical therapist. Mm-hmm. Very good, Lola. Mm-hmm. So, NPP is an individual such as physician assistant, nurse practitioner, advanced registered practitioner, certified, blah, blah, blah. All these beautiful workers have obtained a medical degree, but is not allowed to see patients and prescribe medication. Sometimes they are under a doctor's name. They can. It just depends on what medication it is. if it is a high dosing medication, something that requires a DEA number. So DEA numbers are like your ones for Vicodin or hydrocodone. You know, those kind of medicines that put you to sleep. Okay. Your actual physician will have to write a prescription for that. Okay.
They're dangerous.
Oh yeah, they can be dangerous. Okay. Other procedures that insurance billing specialists can do throughout a workday include scheduling appointments, registering patients, financial and personal data collector. We go on page 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 9. Administrative front person, a documentation specialist. I'm on page 9 if you have the hard book. If you have the book, I'm on page 9, so I had to kind of skip around a bit. Page 9. Documentation is vital to a good patient care. It must be done comprehensively to give proper reimbursement to ensure continued existence of medical office practice. Diagnostic and procedural coding must be reviewed for its correctness and completeness. Claims must be properly submitted within 1 to 5 business days. Business days are when? Monday through Friday. Calendar days are when? Saturday through Sunday. Those are called calendar days. Business days are when?
Monday to Friday.
Monday through Friday, okay? Cash flow, medical practice within a given period of time. Without money coming in, overhead expenses cannot be met and a practice will face financial difficulties. Data required for billing must be collected from healthcare providers as well as from hospitals, outpatient clinic, and laboratories involved in a case. Okay, so education and training. What's involved in the role of a claims examiner or a claims specialist? A high school diploma or a degree into the insurance billing and coding specialist accredited program. The accredited program usually offers additional education such as medical terminology, insurance claims completion, procedural and diagnostic coding, anatomy physiology, computer skills, ethics, medical legal knowledge, and some general office skills. Completion of an accredited program or coding certification or an accredited health information technology program is necessary for a job as a coder, billing specialist, and etc. Okay. Moving on to page, let's see, got 11. I got 12. So going on to page 12. So I'm kind of skipping around here, okay, as much as I can. Now, a 2-year educational course in this is an associate's degree. The training prepares a person to get a wide range of employment opportunities. This is known as health information technology, okay? A bachelor's degree is known as health information management. What you all doing for medical coding and billing, you would get a certificate of education completion of the months that you spent with me to learn and achieve medical coding and billing. And like I said once before, once you finish with me, then you all will be tested. And I think it's like the last week and the last Friday of June, you will take the certification. Get your certified medical administrative assistant certification. Okay. All right. And that helps you solidify or stay within a job. Certifications are everything. Okay. Make sure you remember that. Okay. So you have a HEMA, which is one organization, AAPC, NCCT, INC. They have certifications for National Certified Insurance and Coding Specialists, NHAnow.org. They have certification for Certified Medical Administrative Assistant. What are some of the career advantages? So some of the career advantages um, range different from state to state. Insurance billing specialists can earn a salary of 8,000 part-time to 50,000 full-time or more a year, depending on the knowledge, the duties and responsibility, the location of the job, and the size of the employing institution. Jobs are available in consulting firms, insurance managed carrier companies, managed clearinghouses, ambulatory surgical places, specialty groups, and private physician offices. You can also be your own boss by setting up an in-home billing service or establishing an office for billing. Remember, I said some folks want to do medical billing from home. That is great. But remember, I want you all to work for a facility or work for a doctor's office for 2 to 5 years so that you can learn and know what all is involved in that. It's more to it than just sitting in front of a computer being cute. And your keystrokes matter. You have to have production. So you have to, if it requires you to do 80 claims a day, and so when you're working from home, you have to do 80 claims a day. That will show up daily on your report when your supervisor pulls your report of all the work you've done that day. So it's not as easy and as you think it is. Okay, you have to be very focused and what is it? Efficient. Very good. Efficient in how you get your work done. Jobs in this field that we do does have flexible hours. Even a person with a disability can work in this field. Okay, everybody's calling me today. Okay, can work in this field. So if you have a disability, be it a wheelchair, a walker, or illness of some sort, as long as you're able to focus and you're disciplined and you could comprehend what you're doing, then yes, you can do this job. I have every confidence in you that you can do this job. Okay, let's move on to page 13, qualification and attributes. I'm gonna kind of skip through that. That's a lot to read. Okay, page 13, 14. Let's do 15, 16. Ethics. I'm on page 16, ethics. Okay. Lola, do you have page 16? Or ethics? Do you have medical ethics titled in your book? Could you read that?
Medical ethics are not laws, but standards of conduct generally accepted as moral guides for behavior by which an insurance billing or coding specialist may determine the propriety of his or her conduct in relationship with patients, the physician, co-workers, the government, and insurance companies. You are entrusted with holding patients' medical information in confidence, collecting money for your physician, and being a reliable resource for your co-workers. To act with ethical behavior means carrying out responsibilities with integrity, decency, honesty, competence, consideration, respect, fairness, trust, and courage.
Mm-hmm.
The earliest written code of ethical principles and conduct for the medical profession originated in Babylonia about 2500 BC and is called the Code of Hammurabi.
Mm-hmm.
Then, about the 5th century BC, Hippocrates, a Greek physician who is known as the father of medicine, conceived the oath of Hippocrates.
Or Hippocrates.
Oh, Hippocrates. Sorry.
It's okay.
The old hypocrite, huh? Yeah. In 1980, the American Medical Association, AMA, adopted a modern code of ethics called the Principles of Medical Ethics for the benefit of the health professional to meet the needs of changing times. The principles of medical ethics of the AMA, box 1 of 1, so it might be different from guide physician standards of conduct for honorable behavior in the practice of medicine. It is the code's responsibility to inform administration or his or immediate supervisor if unethical or possible illegal coding practices are taking place. Illegal activities are subject to penalties, fines, and or imprisonment, and can result in loss of morale, reputation, and the goodwill of the community. Standards of ethical coding developed by the AIMA are available at its website.
Okay.
Involve internet resource at the end of this chapter.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Lola. Appreciate that. Give me a minute to eat my sandwich.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the following.
We just don't be praying like everybody else. We just eat.
We just eat. There you go. Exactly. Okay, so the following are principles of ethics for the insurance billing specialist. Here we are. Number one, never make critical remarks about a physician to a patient or anyone else. Does everybody get that?
Yeah.
So when you're rooming a patient, I can't stand that doctor. Oh, he get on my nerve. He's so mean. Da 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 da. He may be kind to the patients, and the patients have no idea that he's like that in the office. Okay, so don't ruin the reputation of the physician like that. Now, if you need to address his attitude or her attitude, then pull him over to the side. Some physicians may not be as sensitive about that. So you may need.
Don't do it in front of the patient.
Yeah, just don't do it in front of the patient. Okay. So you may need to have a one-on-one with your physician or your practice manager. Okay. Maintain dignity and never belittle patients. Okay. So don't talk about one patient to another patient.
You know what? They do. Be careful. A lot of them nurses and the people in the office do that. They do like to themselves, not to other patients. Yeah, but you shouldn't be able to hear them if you sit in the waiting room and they back there behind the thing like this.
Well, that's unprofessional like, if that's going on. That's very unprofessional.
That, like, I didn't go back to the doctor.
If you happen to be caught up in an environment like that, just walk away. Just walk away. Don't engage in that because you'll be just as fault. Something I gotta do. Always give yourself a way of an escape to get out of office politics. That's office gossip, office politics. Stay away from that as much as possible.
And then another thing that I know that they do with doctor's offices, they violate the HIPAA Act a lot, which is not cool.
Yeah, they then that needs to be discussed in the doctor's office.
When I was working for the company, I had an issue with with one of the directors because she was talking about my medical history in front of everybody. Like
exactly. Okay, so let's move on to the next point. In certain circumstances, it may be unethical for two physicians to treat the same patient for the same condition. Also always notify your physician if you discover.
Would that be fraud?
It could be, but not really. If you discover that a patient, hold on. If you discover that a patient in your practice have questionable issues, conduct, or treatment within your office or another physician's practice, maintain a dignified, courteous relationship with all persons in the office. Patients, staff, and the physician, insurance adjusters, pharmaceutical representatives, and others who come in or telephone the office. Do not make by another physician. Okay? So don't make any comments at all. Always stay professional.
That's still part of the HIPAA Act that they violate every time they say something about it, right?
Yeah, but not all offices are like that. But if that lady from us is about that. Okay, so examples of illegal or unethical coding. Violating guidelines by using code numbers or modifiers to increase when the case documentation does not warrant it. Coding services or procedures that were not performed for payment. So if it wasn't documented, it wasn't done. It didn't happen. Very good. So you cannot pretend that patient came in that day and start billing different patients for services that they did not come in and do. Don't think patients don't read their EOBs when they get them in the mail.
The EOBs and the invoices.
And the invoices from exactly, because when the patient looks at that, they will call the doctor's office and say, "Hey, I wasn't here that day. Why y'all billing me for that?" Okay. Explanation of benefits. Explanation of benefits. Okay, unbundling services provided into separate codes when one code is available includes all of the services provided. We'll talk about that later when we get to CPT. Failing to code a relevant condition or complication when it is documented in the health record or vice versa, assigning a code without documentation from the provider. Coding a service in such a way that it is paid when you usually is not covered. Coding another condition as the primary or principal diagnosis when most of the patient's treatment is for a pre-existing condition. So you have to know your coding guidelines, and we'll talk about that later on. Let's talk about the employer responsibility in a medical office. So as mentioned, insurance billing specialists can either be self-employed or employed by a physician, clinic, or hospitals. Physicians are legally responsible for their own conduct and any actions of the employees confirmed within the context of their payment. This is referred to as vicarious liability, which is also known as respondent superior, which literally means let the master E cannot be sued or brought to critical trial. Actions of the insurance biller may have a definite legal ramification on the employer depending on the situation. So, for example, if an employee knowingly submits a fraudulent Medicare or Medicaid claim at the direction of the employer and subsequently the business that he or she is included in the medical professional liability insurance policy, otherwise known as malpractice insurance. So if not included, health staff members are protected. Okay, does everybody understand that? Okay, so now we have in my book, page 17, we have 18. I want y'all to, those that have the book, the standards of ethical coding, I'm gonna put that's on page 18 in my book. I have the 14 edition of the Fordney insurance book. If y'all had this, and I make, the scope of practice, we talked about the scope of practice. Okay, so make sure you know the doctor's scope of practice. And that is it for chapter 2. Yeah, that was a lot to say. Now we're going to talk about adjudication of a claim. So I'm going to try to get this. Okay, so I'm going to bring this up there like that. Okay, all right. So let's look at the board here. Adjudication of a claim process. Yes, we. Okay, so everything begins at appointments. Okay, if you're the appointment setter, you have a very big responsibility. You have to make sure that you get all the patient information at the time of the phone call. If it's an established patient and they've been at the doctor's office, you may want to ask the patient, "Hey, has your insurance changed since you last visited with us?" Okay, then you go on with that. Sometimes some of these appointments are done by telephone, in person. You have to distinguish if they're a new patient or an established patient. Then the patient comes in, they're being seen at the front desk. Okay, if they're a new patient, sometimes at the time of the appointment, you may ask the patient for their email address and email them a temporary password to go online and complete their application online. Has anybody ever done that for a doctor's office? Yes. They completed a doctor's visit or something like that, paperwork online. Sometimes they're able to email you paperwork where you print it up, fill it out, and bring it in to help expedite the wait time. Or they'll tell you to come in 30 minutes early to fill out paperwork. Once they do that, then they put you into the system. So they're kind of doing a little bit of the job of the appointments clerk and the front desk, okay? Then the patient checks in. The patient checks in by saying that they're here. If the patient has a copay, you must collect the copay up front. If the patient has co-insurance, you must let them know, ma'am, you have Blue Cross Blue Shield. Today's services will be 20% of cost. We'll let you know on your way out what your charges are. Okay. Always let the patient know, and there are signs out at the doctor's office that they have a financial obligation. Okay.
It was like, and they'll tell you, payment is due at the time
of
of
service. That's right.
Yes,
At the time of service. Okay, now from the front desk, the patient is seen in the medical office. They see the medical assistant or the nurse or the nurse practitioner. The nurse practitioner is going to do what? Ask you, why are you here today? They're going to take your height and your weight and your vital signs. What are vital signs?
Your
blood pressure,
temperature.
Yep.
Pulse.
Yeah, that.
Very good, Khalees. Very good, Sarah. I know you know. So temperature, blood pressure, pulse, and respiration. Okay, very good.
Miss Harper, so what's the difference between blood pressure and pulse?
So your pulse, it gives like how many beats per minute.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then your blood pressure tells how high the pressure is pumping through your veins and your arteries. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then once the doctor comes in, this is where we write on here for what? Soap notes. And where do we live in the soap notes? Assessment. Very good, LaRonda. Very good. Assessment. We always live in the assessment of the soap notes. Okay, now the patient has been seen. The doctor's seen the patient. Now the chart or the information goes to the coder. They take those words, convert them into numbers. Those numbers and all that information gets sent to the biller. The biller will take all the information within the business days. What are business days?
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. They would do the billing through Monday through Friday, somewhere in between those days. Once they press that button to transmit, or you hit enter to transmit the information, to send forward the information, that's what transmit means, it's going to go through a clearinghouse. The clearinghouse is the middleman between the insurance company and the what? Biller. The clearinghouse is going to dictate if the claim should be what? Stopped for reasons of what? Pinned. Pinned. It should be pinned. If it's pending because you're one digit off for the birthday. Maybe the patient is female instead of male. And it's just typo errors. It's typo errors. It's going to pin it. The biller is going to go into the clearinghouse and catch all of this. Does everybody understand how that works? Now, if there's no mistakes, then there's not going to be a stopper. There's not going to be any claims pending. It's going to be zero. If you see anything that says zero or all clear, that means all 100% of your claims went over to the insurance company. You did a fantastic job. If not, it'll kick back at you. It's going to kick back at you, and it should be no more than 8 to 10%. So
when they kick back, though, they'll send the client a letter, let them know this was not covered, and
that's sent from the insurance company, not from the clearinghouse. That's sent from the insurance company. So a kickback means that when it comes from the clearinghouse, let's suppose you have 50 claims a day. You do 50 claims a day, okay? So what is 50 claims times 10%? 5. Okay. What is 50 claims times 8%? 4. 50 claims a day, you should have no more than 4 to 5 claims in error. If you have 50%, what is 50% of 50? 25. If you have 25 claims kicking back at you after you have transmitted all 50 claims, that means somebody have to go there. You good. You catching me. Or sometimes as a biller, you have to double check behind these people. You have not them so much. But you have to check behind them and behind them. Why? Demographic information. What did I say demographic information consists of? Did I talk to this class about that? What did I say demographic information?
Name, address, phone number,
All the patient information. Those are demographics. If the demographics is off, if the person stays at 1179 and you put in there 1178, it's gonna what?
It's gonna kick back.
It's gonna kick back at you. It'll pin, but it's gonna kick back at you.
They may go through, but you still gonna have an issue with post office.
Well, no, not so. Company. Now you're right. Sometimes due to computer glitches, sometimes it will slip through the cracks. Okay, sometimes.
And then somebody's gonna catch it eventually.
Somebody's gonna catch it eventually.
They're gonna be calling the patient. They're gonna be like, what's wrong? They be like, this is not my address.
Yeah, but somewhere along the way, it's gonna get caught. Somewhere in between the biller, the clearinghouse, or the insurance company, it's gonna get caught. So please make sure. What is 10% of 100 claims a day? 10. And what is 8%? 8. Very good. Love your math. And so make sure that y'all don't have, if y'all getting 50% of claims kicking back at you, I'm gonna tell you straight up right now, y'all doing some sloppy work. Y'all they're not gonna fire you immediately. Job.
I'm gonna have to do when you do that, just check all the codes before you put in your work.
Sometimes you don't have time to do that all the time. So sometimes you're gonna have to learn over time. I'm not saying immediately, but after 6 months to a year of being in your field, you're gonna learn how to develop eagle eyes. You're gonna learn how to see stuff just like that.
Like if something comes up.
Huh?
Like if something comes up, you'll probably know, oh, I'm gonna take care.
Yeah. Have an eye for detail. You'll learn to have an eye. Yes. Well, not always, but sometimes. Okay, now, moving right along, we got through with kickback. Now, let's look at the insurance company. If everything goes well, then this goes to the what? Insurance company. For what? Examination and possible what? Payment. I said possible, not guaranteed. Possible. Does everybody understand that?
Yep.
Okay. Now, one of three things can happen to the EOB or the claim once it gets there, and it's going to define itself on the EOB. It's either going to what? Pay, pin, or deny. It's going to be one of those three choices all the time. All the time. Okay. When you get denial or any one of these, you have to read your EOB messages. So let me put on here, what are some examples of EOB messages? EOB messages can be, let's suppose 747. This could say, oh, this don't write too good.
You can bring your trusty marker.
I have my own markers. There's another black one? Yeah. I got it, sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this is good. Okay, 747. That's a message code. That means patient insurance term.
Okay.
Okay. Y16. That means wrong diagnosis.
Yep.
Okay. 534. That means choose correct gender. Okay, because sometimes that happens. It'll slip through the cracks. You never know. Okay. 546. Code met allowed. So if all the insurance company is going to pay $50 for that code, it's just going to pay $50 for that code.